Hello friends, I'm Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? Let me know in the comments. I just woke up from a little nap and now I'm tired, but the show must go on. And today I want to tell you a story that I feel like I've shared this on the show before, but I'm not positive. And if I did, it was probably a footnote, and today I want to make it the show, the point of the show. So, growing up, I had a mother and a father, and I still do. They're still both alive. They are in the South right now. They go south for the winter to warmer weather. But my father was kind of detached. He wasn't. He had a lot going on in his life, and we weren't close. Like a lot of father and son relationships, we were, Dad was kind of distant, and Mom did most of the parenting. I would say Mom did all of the parenting, but that's not fair, But Mom did most of the parenting. Mom was the disciplinarian. So, but that being said, my dad was. I wouldn't consider my dad to be comical. He's strict because he grew up strict, but he was never strict with me and my sister. He was never that kind of dad. He was just strict in life. He had, things had a particular way of being done, and that's how they got done. He was a teacher. He taught technical education. He taught automotive for 32 years, and he was particular. Would be the way that I would say it. Things needed to be done in a certain way, and if they weren't done that way, then it upset him. But he was never he was never mean, he was never strict, but he was never funny. I wouldn't consider my dad to be a funny man. If you hear stories of people talking about, oh, that sounds like my dad, he would do that sort of thing. That wasn't my dad. My dad didn't make dad jokes. My dad didn't do goofy things. My kids joke that they're more mature than I am. In a lot of ways they are. I'm a very goofy person. So I'm the exact opposite of who my dad was, or dad is. He's still my dad. He's still around. But this story happened when I want to say I was 7 or 8. I was younger enough to be impressionable, as evidenced by the story. But I wasn't old enough to be dumb. Looking back, I definitely didn't understand what my father was saying. I didn't understand the full context of it. I understood it in the 7 or 8-year-old way, not in the I know way. The story is this. I don't remember why. It probably had something to do with going to a junkyard or a parts store or something like that, which is the stuff that my father really enjoyed doing, was car stuff. But when we would go to places like that, we would sometimes go have breakfast together, or just go to McDonald's together. That was kind of like a special treat, and I do recall doing that a few times with my dad. But when I was young, we one time went to McDonald's, and I think it was the first time I had gotten I had ordered an actual Big Mac meal, and that was a big deal because I'd always gotten kids meals and I wanted an adult size meal. And so I ordered this Big Mac meal, and I got my soda, and I don't remember what my father ordered. I just know I felt really big, I'm going to order a big grown-up meal and I'm going to eat it. And so my dad and I sit down, and I can remember the whole scene, my McDonald's had this kind of central, triangular shaped thing in the middle of it that was like a garden. It was all fake plants, but it was kind of this little garden scene, and my dad was sitting with his back to that, and I was facing and so we start to eat, and my dad takes the lid off of his soda and sets it aside and starts drinking his soda. And so I'm eating my adult meal, and I look at my father, and he's drinking this soda this way, and I said, Dad, why don't you use straws? And he looks at me and he said, "'Cause real men don't suck." I don't think I've ever used a straw since that day. Because that just made perfect sense to me at 8 years old, or however old I was. Like I said, I know I wasn't old enough to get the context of it. Like I think Dad was saying that. I think he was. I don't want to say it was slanderous, but I think that there was definitely some, like a little bit of a more of a mature joke in there. But for me as a child, it was like, yeah, I don't suck. I'm a man. I'm going to eat this Big Mac meal, and men don't suck. We're awesome. We're cool people, and it's carried forward my entire life. And having lunch today with some coworkers, and they asked me, Chevee, why don't you use a straw? And apparently I've told the story, and I think I've told it here, but I just wanted to tell it again in a larger setting, and really just let you know that I have asked my dad about that. I think it was last year or maybe the year before last. We were eating, and I told him the story, and he was like, I don't remember saying that at all. And of course, my dad uses straws all the time. Once he's older now and has a little bit of Parkinson's, not shaky Parkinson's, but more of like a facial tics and stuff. But he uses straws all the time now. and I think we were having lunch together, and I told him the story. I was like, "Dad, do you remember telling me this?" And he goes, "No. Why would I say that?" And it was kind of like the Talladega Nights moment where it was like, "I said that? That's dumb. Why would I say that?" But it stuck with me all these years. I've lived by this creed that men don't suck, and I'm not going to use a straw because, and to me, it meant that men are awesome. It didn't mean anything other than that. It wasn't. It wasn't an attack on other people. It just meant that men don't suck. That's my story. I hope that you find that entertaining for some reason. Thought I'd share. I'm tired. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Be amazing friends, being wonderful people. I really, really, really appreciate you. And I hope you'll come back and see me again on Monday. I'll see you then.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from stemilt.com. Why are Granny Smith apples called Granny Smith apples? Granny Smith apples originated in Australia in 1868 when Maria Ann Granny Smith found a seedling growing by a creek on her property. This was the same place where she would toss French crab apples grown in Tasmania. The seedling bore light green colored apples that Granny Smith propagated.